So, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix is the fifth installment of the Harry Potter film franchise. This will be adapted from, as you all can imagine, the Order of the Phoenix. Not only was this the first film that David Yates would direct the Harry Potter film franchise, but it would actually continue on and finish the Harry Potter film franchise and also go on to direct the Fantastic Beasts films. And not to mention as well, this was the only film of the franchise not written by Steve Kloves. This was written by Michael Goldenberg, if I'm not mistaken on his name. Lord Voldemort has returned, and Harry is trying to convince everybody that the Dark Lord has returned, and unfortunately, minus a couple of people, them being Ron, Hermione, and Dumbledore, no one believes Harry Potter. To make matters even worse, at the start of the film, Harry must defend his cousin from a Dementor attack, in which, if you guys remember correctly, one of the rules for underage wizards is that they cannot use their wands in front of a muggle, and as a result, Harry is sentenced to possible expulsion, to be expelled from Hogwarts. And when he comes back, not only is there a brand new defense of dark arts teacher who is Professor Dolores Umbridge, who is causing quite a bit of havoc at Hogwarts, but even more so, Harry and his friends, they can't practice magic when the return of Lord Voldemort is imminent, of him causing even more havoc. So Harry, Ron, and Hermione take it upon themselves to form Dumbledore's army. Before I continue on with today's video, I just wanted to say welcome to my channel, everybody. For those of you who are coming by my channel for the very first time, be sure to hit that subscribe button to not miss a future video, whether it's a future review, a future reaction, and join me on my journey to not only 10K subscribers and beyond, but also on my journey to review the rest of the mainline Harry Potter films, because believe me guys, when I say this, you are not going to want to miss the cool shit I have coming your way. And for those of you who are coming back to my channel, welcome back. You have no idea how happy I'm to see your faces once again. Alrighty guys, so let's get into Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix.
Excellent!
Before I continue on with my review for Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, I have a confession to make. This was the movie that I was actually dreading my rewatch for originally. Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix was not only my least favorite, but I actually did not like this movie when I first saw it. Every time that someone kept on asking me what was my least favorite film of the franchise, I would always point to Order of the Phoenix, because I felt this movie didn't really have a lot going on for it. There are some things in terms of storytelling that I've looked at with brand new eyes, and for that reason, really, I was curious to see how I would react and how I would look at Order of the Phoenix with a brand new, fresh set of eyes. You guys know those movies that when you first see them, you don't like them, but over the subsequent years, you've kind of thought about it here and there, and you decide to give it a second chance, and you come out of it with your opinion almost drastically changed? This movie, for me, is another example of that statement. I came out of this movie for my most recent rewatch with a new appreciation for this movie, and I came out really digging this movie. All of the performances in this movie, once again, are absolutely superb. Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, Michael Gambon, Alan Rickman. I mean, every performance in this movie is terrific. But there are 3 performances in this movie that I must talk about, and please excuse me because I'm going to have to keep looking their names up, because I feel really bad if I don't mention the people who play these characters, so bear with me guys. I just want to apologize right now if I butcher your name, but Ivana Lynch, who portrays Luna Lovegood, I thought she was great casting. She brings such an adorable quality to Luna Lovegood, and I absolutely loved her screen time in this movie, and the way that she's able to relate to Harry in the ways that the others cannot relate to him. I thought she was great in this movie. How the heck did I forget this person? Okay, really quick. One quick mention to Helena Bonham Carter for portrayal as Bellatrix Lestrange. Oh my god. For her limited screen time in this movie, she absolutely killed it, and seeing where she goes from here is brilliant. I love Bellatrix, and Helena Bonham Carter did a great job. The star of this movie, to which I know some people are going to disagree with me, but she really brought an impression. Imelda Staunton? I'm pretty sure I butchered your name, ma'am. I deeply apologize, but holy crap. She was incredible as Dolores Umbridge. Imelda Staunton does such a phenomenal job really right away, and especially in the first session for Defense Against the Dark Arts, of really making you dislike her and what she is doing to Hogwarts. But man, there are some bits, especially when she is tidying up the students, especially with the score going on, especially when she is talking to Severus Snape, the whole thing of going like, hey, you applied, right? And you lost, obviously. Order of the Phoenix is the movie that really, ever since Prisoner of Azkaban, it slightly takes the franchise into a slightly darker direction, and easily Order of the Phoenix is the movie where it gets dark. Knowing what's going on, especially that this movie is bringing on the expansion to the government and the political side of the Wizarding World, to which, again, when I was a teenager, this was an aspect about the movie that I just could not click with whatsoever because, like I mentioned you guys earlier, personally, it's just not something I'm really into. But here's the thing, guys. On my latest rewatch, this was the aspect about the movie that I actually dug the most. As a teenager who watched this movie, every single time that a government side or a political side came into this movie, I always thought, okay, wrap it up, get back to Harry teaching the students, please, or just get to something else, please. Seeing how Order of the Phoenix did that expansion of the government and the politics of the Wizarding World, I thought that David Yates did a wonderful job of not only keeping, the wonder of the Wizarding World once again, but bringing us not only into the darker side of things, but bringing us into, the heavier side, the more mature stuff, the adult stuff, the darker stuff of the franchise. Something that I love about this movie is David Yates' direction. And fun fact for you guys, David Yates, this was his first time directing a movie, let alone a big scale film, because if I'm not mistaken, before this movie, David Yates had only directed television before. I mean, he had made, I think, made-for-TV films, but otherwise, guys, this movie was David Yates' first time being not only on a big set for a big franchise, but it's his feature film debut. And I gotta tell you guys, David Yates came in and really did swing for the fences on this one. Not only bringing his own sensibilities, but also bringing in those quieter moments. Order of the Phoenix doesn't have really a lot of wizard action. I mean, sure, there is some wizard action, and when it happens, it's absolutely badass to watch. Order of the Phoenix focuses on the characters. It focuses on the dialogue. It focuses on what the characters are doing, the planning of the Dumbledore's army, the whole thing of Harry trying to teach the students, his fellow students, of in case when a big battle comes in. This was the only film of the franchise not written by Steve Kloves, who wrote all the Harry Potter films. This was being written by Michael Goldenberg. And here's the thing, guys. Michael Goldenberg stepped into some big shoes because Steve Kloves did a wonderful job of writing all the Harry Potter films. Michael Goldenberg really did write a very well done screenplay with some genuinely great things in it. One of my favorite moments of this movie is the speech that Harry gives when he's teaching all the students, saying, hey, look, every great wizard started off nothing more than what we are now, students. So if they could do it, why can't we? Harry is not only a great teacher, but he's really inspirational. And by the way, saying that line right there, just saying that speech, reminded me of one of my favorite moments in Order of the Phoenix. Harry, Ron, and Hermione are in Hogsmeade. They're in this building. I can't remember exactly where they're at, but they're trying to form Dumbledore's army. And Ron and Hermione are doing everything they can to support Harry and to saying, hey, come join this army and let's teach ourselves to defend ourselves against the dark arts, and no one is buying anything. Although there is that moment where one of the students says, hey, is it really true they can produce a Patronus charm? Then Ron and Hermione start boasting Harry's accomplishments, and then Harry finally says, yeah, look, when you say all that stuff like that, it sounds great when it comes out, but really, in the reality of the situation, I was lucky. I was really not prepared at all, and most of the time, I had help. In school, when you fail, you get to try again. But in the real world, when you're literally milliseconds away from death, you don't get a second try. Something I want to apologize about is that I know I haven't really mentioned this in the previous 4 Harry Potter film reviews, but one thing that I really need to get out there Harry Potter's a great role model. He really is. And the way he teaches all of his fellow students, and once he finally gets Neville to finally successfully do it, an Expelliarmus, oh my god. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. There's one thing in particular that I love about this movie, and this just might be me really reading into things. It's a movie about, well, taking the fight to the man, sticking it to the man, and I don't know why, guys, but as I was watching this movie, and when Dumbledore's armor was being formed, I could only think of one song, and that was Fight the Power. Another thing in particular that I loved about this movie was the score of this movie. Now, I do apologize that I'm not remembering his name right now. I'll put the composer's name right here. The score in the final act with the battle within the Ministry of Magic, that score is sick. Before I continue on and talk about the third act of this movie, I must talk about my favorite moment in Order of the Phoenix, and you guys knew that this was coming. When Umbridge gets picked up by Hagrid's, I think his half-brother, if I remember correctly, the troll. All the centaurs come in, Umbridge is angry as can be, and when Umbridge is about to being taken away, she asks Harry, she's pleading for him, just tell them I'm not doing them any harm, and then Harry says, I'm sorry, Professor, I must not tell lies, and seeing Umbridge being taken away, come on, who else didn't clap during that moment? And now, guys, we get into the third act, which Dumbledore's army, which includes now Harry, Hermione, Ron, Luna, and Neville, as they go to the Ministry of Magic after Harry has seen a nightmare, which is not really a nightmare, to which something I'll get into soon. They go to the Ministry of Magic to get the privacy. The Death Eaters meet them, and this whole thing is just absolutely brilliant, especially when the Order comes in, they start fighting the Death Eaters. This whole finale is so brilliant, especially one of my favorite moments of this finale, when Dumbledore and Voldemort duel. Holy crap. And should I mention as well, the VFX in this scene are absolutely incredible. One specific thing that I gotta mention is Ralph Fiennes' performance as Lord Voldemort. Ralph Fiennes in this movie is so brilliant, and yes, don't get me wrong to you guys, he has very limited screen time, but my god, when he is on that screen, he makes the most use of a very impactful performance. One of my favorite shots from Order of the Phoenix is from the final battle between Lord Voldemort and Professor Dumbledore, when Ralph Fiennes as Voldemort just does this with his hand with that fire, and the laugh that he has. Holy freaking crap, he is so good as this character. There is one more thing that I must talk about, and it has nothing to do with the movie per se. I mean, it kind of does, but it also deals with the first time I saw this movie. Just bear with me here. At the end battle between Dumbledore and Voldemort, it's really at a standstill, but really the final battle of this film takes place with Voldemort and Harry's mind, and Harry successfully repels him from his mind, and when Voldemort comes out, everybody, all the Aurors, all the ministers, the Ministry of Magic come in particular, the head minister himself. When the head minister of magic sees Voldemort disappearing and he says, he's back! In my theater, the moment that he said, he's back, a kid in my theater, no joke, shouted this. Duh! Yeah, that happened.
Well, that's just fucking great!
While I most definitely now have a newfound appreciation for the Phoenix, it is not exempt from its issues that I do have. The first of which being this, and that is the screenplay. Not saying that the screenplay is a bad screenplay, because it's really not a bad screenplay. As a matter of fact, it is a good screenplay. Order of the Phoenix, at the time of its release, was the longest book. And just to show you guys right now, look how thick this book is. This is a big flarkin' book, and this book, I don't know the exact page count, but at the time being of its release, this was the longest book. The movie, however, is the shortest Harry Potter film. No joke, guys. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that Order of the Phoenix is around like 2 hours and 10 minutes, maybe 2 hours and 15 minutes, and because of that, this movie felt like glosses over some really important stuff. I mean, I don't know what it is, because here's the thing, guys. I have not read this book in a very long time, although after a certain event happened and the movie, it does make me want to reread the books once. I feel like that there was a lot of elements that were strapped, cut, or glossed over for the sake of a streamlined runtime. It's a movie that I wish was closer to the 2 hour 40-minute mark. For example, there is a specific moment when Harry is really angry, as y'all can imagine, knowing that no one's believing him and knowing that Voldemort is back, but no one's taking him seriously. And it gets to the point where he's having these nightmares, but not really nightmares. Dumbledore finally calls in Snape saying, hey, it's time we do this. Like, we can't wait for this any longer. What comes up next is easily one of my favorite aspects for this movie that was cut short. And that was the teachings that Snape did for Harry to shield his mind for when Voldemort does come into play later on in the film. There are only 2 sessions of this thing. I wish that there was at least 4 of them, at least a couple of more of them. Going on to my biggest issue, easily with Order of the Phoenix, the emotional impact for one particular character for me wasn't there. Going into spoilers, because if you haven't seen Order of the Phoenix, please go watch it because it is genuinely a very good Harry Potter film. As a matter of fact, it's a near great Harry Potter film. During the final act of Order of the Phoenix, it's the Death Eaters versus the Order of the Phoenix, and at one point, Sirius Black comes in. But then, everything is cut short when Bellatrix Lestrange kills Sirius Black. Watching this death on screen, I actually did not cry. I got sad, sure, but was I blubbering like a baby when this happened? I didn't. Sirius Black's death, for me at least, just wasn't, it didn't give me the emotional gut punch that I wanted. I didn't really feel the big sadness that I wanted to feel.
And here we go.
So overall, if you had asked me when I was a teenager, I would have easily said that Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix was my least favorite Harry Potter film. But now, years later, as an adult, I am so happy to say that I really, really dig Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix a lot. All in all, I'm gonna give Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix a 4 out of 5. Believe me, guys, when I say this, I am just as shocked as you, but man, I'm so happy I gave this one a second chance because I came out really digging this movie quite a bit. I hope you enjoyed my review of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. If so, please hit the like button, or if you disliked the review, hit the dislike button. If you guys want to see my previous 2 reviews, please click it right there or right there. And of course, until my next review or video goes live, I will see you all next time.